Howdy, friends and floor heads. It is Saturday night and time for a little one-on-one Call of Cthulhu. How you doing, Nick?
It's finally happening. I've been waiting for Saturday night for so long. This is so
Oh,
good.
it's been like a week now. We were kind of back to back on episode 1 and episode 2, and then we had to wait a little bit. Very briefly, if you have not watched episode 1 or 2, I recommend you do that. But in the meantime, we've got Curtis, who's a reporter, lives with a gentleman named Lucas, and an ex-girlfriend whose name is Anna. And they have brushed up against some very strange artifact, a mask that currently appears to be in the possession of Anna. But unfortunately for Lucas and Curtis, well, let's go ahead and open up. So as we fade in for black, we see the outside of the Midtown police station, precinct 128. We cut to the interior and we can see cops in their 1920s police outfits circulating around the lobby, commotion, people being brought in, typical Law and Order type opening scene. We then cut to the interior of an interview room. There's a metal table. The table's cold. The room reeks of old coffee and old cigarettes. There's a big old ashtray on the table with all kinds of different brands of butts in it. There's two metal loops, and strung through those two metal loops are chains attached to handcuffs. And we see Curtis sitting in the chair by himself at the table, cuffed. Curtis, you've been there now a good 7, 8, almost 10 minutes. And the room is bright, bright enough that the window that you're facing, you can tell there's no two-way mirrors at this point, but there's a window. You know there's somebody on the other side of that window. You just have no visibility to them. And you and Lucas came to the precinct voluntarily after discovering the body of Madame de Tasson. And they found blood on Lucas's hands. You know you didn't kill her. Lucas knows you didn't kill her. Neither of you know who killed her or who killed the man in her walk-in closet. So out of curiosity, as you've been sitting there for 10 minutes, Curtis, I'd love to get a sense of an inner dialogue. I'd love to get a sense of what's going through your mind now that you're 2 hours away from this big audition and you haven't seen Anna in at least 2 hours.
Yeah, I think Curtis is starting to panic internally, with the thought that Anna still has that damn mask on her face, or something's going on, right? Um, and he's just spinning his wheels, thinking of every path of uh, conversing with whoever's going to come through that door and talk to him on how to get out of here as quickly as possible. And unfortunately, with or without his friend Lucas, because priority right now is Anna. Lucas has his dad, but he's trying to figure out the best way out as quickly as possible.
And as you're kind of sitting there in that really uncomfortable metal chair, the door finally opens. And in walks in somebody who's not in a police uniform. He's just plain clothes. He's got a button-up shirt, kind of a pale blue shirt. He's got slacks on, and in typical 1920s fashion, the waistline is high. He's got suspenders on. And walking in with him is a uniformed officer. The guy has a very, very square face and a lock square jaw. He's got some gray in his hair, but it's a full head of hair, and it's slicked back in style for the times. Looking at his rolled up sleeves, you can see his forearms, and his forearms are large, right? So you can tell that either this guy currently does manual labor or at one point in his life he did. He's not a small man. Officer, we don't need the cuffs. Are you sure? Uncuff him. Officer comes over, takes the key out of his belt, takes off the cuffs, leaves them on the table, but just takes your wrists out. And I don't know if you realized how tight they were until they come off, Curtis. So suddenly you realize that there was a tingle, like a tingling feeling you're almost having at the very tip of your fingers. And that immediately starts to dissipate as you feel the blood rush back into your hands. Have they brought you coffee or water or anything? Are you thirsty?
Curtis is going to exaggerate the discomfort he now realizes he had in his fingers and kind of, oh, shit. Nothing at all. These guys have been terrible. I can't believe the situation I'm in. I would love something to drink.
Officer, we don't treat our guests like this. Go, coffee, water. What do you want?
Coffee would be great.
Black?
Absolutely.
You know what? I'll have one too. Officer, get us two black coffees. And the officer leaves. He says, Mr. Ellison, I want to apologize. And I don't think the cuffs were necessary. And technically, we don't have you under arrest. So you're here voluntarily, of course. But I have a problem. And I'm really hoping you can help me with it. I've got a very prominent socialite here in the city, and she's dead with a smile cut across her throat. In her closet, I've got a man stuffed into a basket without a face. And I just got done talking to your friend who's got her blood and his blood on his hands. Oh, I'm being rude. I'm sorry. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a business card and slides it towards you. And on there it says, Sean Drake, Detective, Homicide. Hey, McBluff. I don't think you two were involved in the murder of these two people. And honestly, the story that I got from Lucas seems plausible. I'll be interested to see if your story matches. And I've got other things to worry about. And honestly, I don't care if some fancy rich lady's dead. I still don't know who the faceless guy is. But I'd love to worry about things that are really impacting this city. So if you can help me wrap this up, Mr. Ellison, I would appreciate it. Why were you and your friend, Mr. Reston, in that apartment?
Well, Detective, we really just had a few questions for the madam regarding some of her masks. That's all it was. We were there the night before and wanted to discuss a few things with her.
Were you angry with her?
Absolutely not. No.
So here's what I don't understand, Mr. Ellison. And I just need your help here. I don't understand how somebody, no offense, of your stature is going to be an apartment of a woman of that stature. Now, your friend is the son of a very prominent lawyer here in the city. He makes a little bit of sense. You don't make any sense to me. So help me out.
Well, Detective, you're absolutely right. I was a third wheel and a fish out of water at that party, and but for some reason she warmed up to me, and although mocked my place of birth and being from Brooklyn, was very warm and welcoming and treated me like a human being. So she definitely made me feel welcome when the other people at her party did not. But uh, yeah, I was there only because of my friend Peter or Lucas.
It's my understanding you two left the party early the night before.
Yes, sir.
There
That
was a
is
third
true.
person with you. Who is that?
That's our dear friend Anna.
Where is she?
She's preparing for an audition tonight. I've actually got to get back to her here shortly.
So the three of you leave a party early, a party that the three of you have no business being. Why did you leave?
Well, it sounds like the department was not aware of the situation that happened last night at the madam's residence, but a man barged in wielding a knife and caused a scene. Um, and our friend Anna did not feel comfortable being there any longer. So ultimately, we decided to comfort her and get her out of that situation.
What happened to the man?
Uh, the madam took him into the back and came out saying everything was good and never saw him again. Well, never saw him again that evening.
And are you telling me that's the man that was in the basket?
I believe so. It's yes. I strongly believe so.
So I've got three people. One, I have no idea where she is. Two, I have here on the precinct. The night before, you saw both alive. They were alive when you left, I assume.
Yes.
And then for some reason, you returned back to the apartment the next day, and they're both deceased. What happened the next day that made you go back to that apartment?
Well, detective, it was some business with um, Lucas and the madam. Lucas's father is Peter Reston, the attorney in town, and they had business together. And there was a question about a mask, and we were going to go talk to her about a mask because she has a plethora of masks on her wall. She seemed to be the subject matter expert. Um,
Did anything unusual happen that morning before you went over to her apartment? Think about it before you answer me.
Anything unusual? As in what?
I'm asking you.
Other than us going to the professor's office to ask a few questions about said mask.
What's his name?
Professor Ninert? Ninert?
Ninart?
Ninert.
And he's a professor.
Over at Cambridge. Is it Cambridge?
Columbia.
Yeah. Columbia. Thank you. Yeah, we met him at that same party last night, and he seemed to know a lot about masks. And we went and talked to him that morning as well, and he recommended us uh, asking and going and seeing the madam.
Let me rephrase this. You wake up, and between you waking up and going to see this professor at his office in Columbia, and before you go see the Madame de Tussaud and finding her body and the body of this other person who apparently had a knife the night before, who did you interact with? Between waking up and going to see this professor, who did you talk to?
It was just me, Lucas, and Anna, sir. I don't know what you're
So
getting at.
you didn't talk to anybody else between waking up and going to see the professor.
No.
Have you ever seen this before? He reaches into the side pocket of his jacket and he throws a moleskin leather book, like a small address book size thing, and it's got a kind of a leather tie on it. You ever seen that before?
I don't believe so.
Do me a favor. Open it up.
Okay. I open it up.
So you open it up, Curtis, and you open it up to the first page. It's got several pages in it, and there's scribblings on both sides of each of these pages, and it goes about 15 or 20 pages. And on each page, it's the same thing, 2 or 3 lines that are addresses, all within the city, and then they're crossed out. And as you flip through it, he says, hurry up and go to the last one. You go to the last one, and you see your address, and it's crossed out. And you look at the address above it, and it's the address of Madame de Tussaud at the hotel, including the floor where she lives. Does it jog your memory at all?
I'm going to stall while looking at the list to see if I can tell names ahead of time to see if maybe they're part of that party or something.
So there's no names. As you flip through,
just
they're all,
addresses.
there's only addresses that stand out to you, or the last one, which is yours, and it's crossed out, and the address above it, which is Madame de Tussaud. Now, there's dates next to it. So yesterday, or this morning, I'm sorry, it's today's date is on the 2 addresses. And then there's like 8 addresses above those 2 ones that you recognize as addresses in the city for the day before. And as you flip through, you see there's about anywhere from 8 to 10 addresses attached to each of the dates. Take your time.
No, detective. I mean, this is my address here. That's pretty
Well, I'm
clear.
aware.
But no,
How about the address above it?
it appears to be the madame's address.
So I told you that there were 2 bodies. De Tussaud's body that you and your friend found. Body of the guy in the basket, who now you explained to me is the guy with the knife. And incidentally, your friend has corroborated this story. Your friend didn't recognize this either. I'm not saying that there's a certain number of bodies before I get worried, but it might be 3. Do you want to know where I found that?
No, sir. Where'd you find that?
On the body of a little boy in an alleyway next to the brownstone where you live. It's a kid that's been running deliveries for the last 1.5 years for a courier company. And I think it's interesting that the second to last address he went to is the hotel. The last address in his book, which is crossed out, is yours. And he's dead in an alleyway next to your brownstone. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Who did you interact with between waking up and going to see this professor?
Detective, I'm sorry. That interaction was so minuscule. I didn't think anything of it. He handed me a box, and that was it. Like I swear to you, I wasn't lying. I just thought it was minuscule. I thought it was. Yes, I interacted with a courier boy. He handed off a package and went on his way. And that package was for Lucas.
It's a hell of a trail of bodies behind you and your friend.
It appears so, but Detective, I, I'm just as stunned at all this information as you are. I don't know what's going on,
What was in
but I'm
this
happy to
package?
cooperate. You'll have to ask Lucas.
Was it something that maybe made your friend angry? Angry at maybe what she sent him?
Not at all. I was with
Does he have a
Lucas.
temper?
I wouldn't say a temper, no.
Seemed pretty agitated when I was talking to him. Seemed to think he's pretty important just because his dad's important. Seemed like the kind of guy that, if you pushed enough buttons, that maybe he would be do something rash. What do you think?
Detective, I know where you're getting at with this, and it's not the case with Lucas. I can guarantee you that.
All right, I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with the coffee. So I'll be back.
Detective, real quick, am I being held and being detained at this moment?
If you're asking if you're under arrest, you're not under arrest. If you want to leave, that might change. So you tell me, do you want to be under arrest?
No, sir. But I'd be happy to fill out a statement, answer any more questions. But um, I've really got to be somewhere.
Well, I'm not real crazy about you going anywhere because apparently everywhere you go, you leave a nice little trail of bodies for me. So I think you should just stay here for a little bit, don't you? Might be safer for the city. He doesn't wait for an answer. He leaves.
Oh, what a dick. I'm going to stand up, pace back and forth. You said there's a mirror in this room?
So no, there was really no two-way mirrors back then, but what they would do is they would have a glass and they would keep the room on the other side very dark, right? So that it was essentially the glass was reflective because it was all dark behind it. And it was effectively the same thing. So they'd have people there, watching the interrogations going on. So no indication that somebody's on the other side of that or not. But you're a reporter. You've worked crime beats before, there's, it's possible that you're being watched.
Yep. I imagine being a reporter, I'm going to know kind of the general rules of engagement and police procedures. And I imagine I can get some sort of aid or assistance from the Brooklyn Gazette. I'm sure there's an editor or somebody. So I'm going to go up to that glass. Dink, 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 dink. Phone call. I need to use a phone now.
Let's do a roll for that, Curtis. Let's start with a luck roll.
Oh shit.
Because I want to see, I don't know if you're lucky enough to have someone hear that.
Nope. I really don't.
All right. We don't need another roll.
I just mumbled, apparently.
Talking to yourself again. So maybe after 3 or 4 minutes, Curtis, the door opens again. And I think what you expected was Detective Drake. But Detective Drake is not who you first see. The first person you see is Lucas. Behind him is Detective Drake and 2 officers. And he kind of pushes Lucas a little bit, but not like shoves him, just kind of edges him into the room. And he says, "We've got a bunch of paperwork to do. We'll be back." And he closes the door. And Lucas kind of looks around and he goes, "What did you tell him? Did you call my dad?"
I immediately grab Lucas, send him to the opposite wall from that window or the glass. Say, Lucas, gotta be quiet. No, I didn't mention your dad. I didn't call your dad.
I didn't call my dad either. This doesn't make any sense. They're letting us go. I figured you must have called my dad.
No, we didn't do anything wrong. Lucas, we just need to get the hell out of here.
I don't think this Detective Drake guy believes anything I told him. Did he tell you about the kid?
Yeah, I couldn't believe what he told me that.
Curtis, I'm going to ask you this, and I'm sorry, but like, when was the last time you saw the kid?
He delivered that package, and I sent him on his way. Like, and then I gave you the package once I realized it was for you. Like, we argued about this already. That was the reason. That was the kid that brought that. And did you see the address book? Prior to dropping off that package to you, he was at the madam's house.
I mean, we kind of knew that Dita-san sent the mask, right? Like that's what my dad wanted, but man, I don't like now the kid's dead. She's dead. The crazy guy with a knife is dead. I had blood on my hands because we were all over that goddamn apartment.
Lucas,
And
what's
out
even
of
worse?
nowhere, I figured you pulled some strings because out of nowhere he comes in and grabs me and says, "You're both free to go. We just got to do some paperwork." And he throws me in here with you. I figured you must have called my dad, or did you call the newspaper? Maybe the newspaper got us out. Who did you call?
I didn't call anybody. I actually asked for a phone call, and nobody said anything.
Man,
Lucas, I'm worried about Anna.
Yeah, me too. Like if like if you think she has the mask, everybody who's touched this damn thing is dead except us.
Did you mention anything about Anna having this mask on her to the detective?
Oh, I didn't say anything about the
Good,
mask.
good. We keep that between us. That is only going to put her at danger.
What the hell, dude?
Say, hold on real quick. I'm going to try the door. Does the door handle open from the inside?
It's locked.
It's locked. Okay. Never mind. I come back. Yeah, this isn't adding up, but there's too many dead bodies and not enough answers. We need to get to Anna as soon as possible.
So Lucas looks at his watch, and you've known this, but Lucas has a watch that he never could afford, right? And he says, "Where do you think Anna is? The audition's in an hour and a half. So if we're really getting out of here, we need to find her. I don't even know where to go. Do you think she went back to the brownstone? Because the audition's here in the city."
Yeah, we may be better off just meeting her at the destination. I don't see us going back to the house. How far of a drive or taxi is the house?
I mean, a cab ride would be like 45 minutes to get back to the brownstone.
Basically, there's a chance of just flat missing her, depending on when we get out of here. Yeah, Lucas. By the time we get back, we might be passing her as she's coming this way. When we get out of here, let's try to let's try to get out of here first, and then we'll figure out what to do. We may need to make some calls and call in some favors.
Do you think they're really letting us go?
I certainly hope so.
So as you say that, the door opens. Detective goes, "I don't know who you know, but apparently I misjudged both of you and how important you are. Because I just had my captain tell me the two of you can just walk. Neither of you are to leave the 5 boroughs. And I should be able to find you within a couple hours. Because we have a lot more to talk about. Hey, and you know what? Do me a favor. Don't kill anybody." And he walks like in a very obnoxious gesture, kind of makes himself clear of the door. Right? Kind of a, "Here you go, asshole."
They have business cards in the 20s.
Oh yeah, Drake left one on the table for you.
I'm gonna pull my wallet out and get my Brooklyn Gazette business card, slap it there on the table, say, "You know how to find me," and I beeline out this bitch.
So you head out. Nobody seems to be paying attention to you nor Lucas. Lucas is very nervous, seems very suspicious, kind of like looking around as you guys are going. Activity at the precinct is seems to have nothing to do with you. Leave out the front door.
Yeah.
So you leave out the front door, and it's getting late afternoon. It's still not dusk yet. It's Midtown, right? So it's busy. And as you kind of step outside of the precinct, you see people being brought in, people leaving, some uniforms, a couple cop cars parked on the street in front of the precinct, all things that are normal. You've got your head on a swivel by just the nature of who you are. And almost like there was a spotlight shining, there is a very, very expensive Rolls Royce long car parked on the street directly in front of the precinct. And whoever's driving that thing, had they put it any closer to the curb than they did, they would have knocked down the no parking sign that's right there. And it's got kind of the inverted double doors, right? Because it's a long car. It obviously has a large passenger area. I don't know if you've ever seen a car of this expense in person. And there's two very, very large gentlemen standing on either side of one of the open doors. They are in very smart suits, pinstripes. They have identical shirts, identical ties. Both of their heads are shaved. And though they're not twins, they seem to both have the same job and dressed accordingly. They are muscles on muscles. They fill those suits. They look like stone monoliths standing next to either side of this door. Both of them have shaved heads. Both of them are of Asian descent. And they immediately make eye contact with you and Lucas. Do you know them?
No. But something's weird. Something weird is going on. Follow my lead.
Okay.
I'm going to slowly start walking up to them and see if they acknowledge me in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, as you start walking towards them, one of the guy opens up the second door, and because of the size of this car, you really can't see in there. You do see there are two people in the car, and they seem to be facing each other. So apparently, in line with the doors opening up like this, also the seats seem to be facing each other in the car here. You see two people are in there on the far side, but the way that the sun is hitting, you really can't see. It's dark inside of this. And one of the large gentlemen doesn't say anything. He just kind of gestures with his hand, as in, please.
Kind of nod to Lucas. Let's get in.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Someone got us out of this mess. We've kind of got to follow this out. Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Okay. So you get in, and by the way that the one of the two mountain men has kind of put his arm out as kind of a gesture to welcome you into the cab of this essentially 1920s limo. He's also kind of blocked you from sitting on the left-hand set of seats. So there's really only a place you and Lucas can go is on the right-hand set of seats, where there's already somebody sitting on the far side of this cab. And like I said, it's dark, so your eyes, it was bright outside. Your eyes have a hard time adjusting. And it's really not until the doors close that your eyes adjust and you can kind of now see who's in the car. And even before your eyes fully adjust, you hear Nineart's voice, who's sitting next to you. And he goes, I'm so sorry. I I I told him everything I knew. And then the other voice breaks in, and it's a voice you're familiar with, though only briefly. And that was the other person that was talking to Neinart at the party, Mr. Tanaka. As your eyes adjust, you see Mr. Tanaka in a very expensive suit, sitting across from you and Lucas and Professor Neinart. And kind of that James Bond villain shadowing, right? Where you can just barely see from the nose down, right? The shadow is hiding his eyes. You're welcome.
Mr. Tanaka, thank you. Do you have any idea what's going on with this whole situation?
I'm interested in two things. One, what do you know? And two, and think about this, where's the mask? So the two big guys get back out in the front where one of them's the driver, and the car starts to drive down 43rd. And Lucas is kind of looking at you like, I'm not saying shit. I'm sorry. Is my accent too thick? Where's the mask?
Which way do I go here?
Professor goes, just tell him. I told him I didn't know where it was. I didn't know anything about a mask. I told him about what you brought me, the sheets that you brought me, and I told him the translations that I gave you. And he tells me that De Tasson is dead, and that it's important to him that we find the mask, and I believe him. And whatever stoic, like the professor was very stoic, right? Every time you saw him, obviously thought very much of himself, had very much an inflated intellectual snobbery about him. All of that's gone. He is scared shitless right
now. Well, Mr. Tanaka, first off, thank you for getting us out of the police precinct, but I don't know a whole lot about what's going on here. We went and saw the professor about some translations, which you're aware of. And then all of a sudden, a slew of dead bodies have been following us. This boy that delivered a package and that had those translation or the letters and the words on it and the notes, and then the madam, and then that crazy guy with the knife.
What was in the box? Well. What did the boy deliver?
I don't know. I only saw the paperwork, sir.
Lucas, when my dad finds out about this, do you realize, like, he'll sue all your asses. You can't just do this. You can't just kidnap us like this. He seems unfazed by Lucas's threats. Spare the threats. There's a lot of things I'm afraid of. Your father's not one of them. The mask was in the box. The box was delivered to your home. That I know, because you have the papers. So either you tell me where the box is, or apparently, like other people I've talked to, you're of no use to me. Where's the mask? Where's the box?
Mr. Tanaka, before we go any further here, I don't know where the mask is at this moment.
So the mask was in the box.
There was a mask in the box. Yes.
And he turns to Lucas and goes, "Did you open the box?" And Lucas kind of looks to you. He doesn't know how to answer. Uh, did we open the box, Curtis?
Lucas, don't answer that. Mr. Tanaka, what do you know about this mask? I don't do well with threats like this.
You seem
What is this
smart to
mask?
me, Mr. Ellison. You seem very smart to me. I noticed that the night at the party. Unlike your fool friend here and his father. Unlike de Tesson, she thought she was clever, but she wasn't. So I think you pretending that you don't understand this situation and that you don't understand what giving me the wrong answers mean, you're not fooling me. And I think you're smart enough to know that. So again, and I've had my patience tried enough today. Where is the mask?
When he asked that, I'd like to look in the cab of that we're in and see if the doors are unlocked. Or if there's a handle.
Yeah, looking at them, I don't think they are.
I think Curtis is going to buck up a little bit and say, "Mr. Tanaka, I know what you're capable of, sir, and hear me when I say that you don't know what I'm capable of. I need to know more information about said mask before I give you any information on where it's at. Could I get it for you? Yes, I could, but I need more information. I just saw someone's face filleted right off uh, at the madam's house. Um, I just saw a throat cut, and then someone with the audacity to kill a little boy. Um, I'm not taking any chances with where this mask is. Um, I have a few questions for you before I continue answering questions for you.
I appreciate that, Mr. Ellison. And honestly, I probably would say the same thing, or at least think the same thing you're thinking. But to clarify this situation right now, either of you are of use to me, or you are not. And if the two of you don't tell me or don't know where the mask is, then I have to make the decision that you are of no use to me.
The short answer is yes, I know where the mask is. Are you ready to answer my questions?
I, again, appreciate what you're trying to do. Let's do a roll here, Curtis. This is pretty good. So, what do we think we're using here to try to swing way above your league here and intimidating Mr. Tanaka?
Yeah, I don't see badass MFer on here. So
So I mean, it kind of depends on your angle here, right? Are you trying to intimidate him? Are you trying to fast talk him? You trying to charm him? Let's figure out your angle here.
to be honest, I think I'm acting as if I was Mr. Tanaka. Like I'm and uh, weirdly enough, I have some points in the art of acting on my character sheet. Would that would that suffice?
Well, isn't there what is it, intimidation or something like that? There's a skill I can't.
Yeah, there's charm, dodge, no, fast talk. Um,
Persuade maybe.
there is a persuade. Actually, yeah, I'm way better at persuade.
Yeah, so I think you would do if you're trying to like pretend like, Tanaka, you think you know everything, you don't know everything because actually I'm a lot more dangerous than you think I am. I think that's a persuade.
All
So I'm
right.
happy with a persuade or a fast talk or a charm. It all depends on how you're trying to do this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, and I think persuade's the right way because I need him to understand that uh, uh, Curtis is the one holding the cards here, not Mr. Tanaka.
All right,
So
let's do a persuade. Dude. Like it's been so bad, like you can't even spend your luck.
no, like yeah,
So I have
oh,
to ask this, and this is probably a terrible place to ask this, but there is a mechanic in Call of Cthulhu that allows you to push a roll. And essentially, you have to give me some narrative understanding of why you tried this and it's not working, and you tried it again, but obviously different enough, either with more effort or a slightly different angle, but really pushed things. You get to re-roll this. And if you succeed, you succeed. This first roll didn't happen. But the thing I have to warn you about as you're in this car with Tanaka, and there's a Colombian professor who's peeing his pants. I think Lucas may have peed his pants a little bit. And then there's you. If you push a roll and fail it again, then it's more than just a failure. It means things take a right turn and not in your direction. So, do you wish to push this roll?
I do, and I yeah, yeah, and I think the angle
What's the
here is
justification first? Then explain to me how.
I think the justification is maybe like mid sentence or mid persuade. Uh, Curtis is a smart guy. He's probably getting body language from Mr. Tanaka, like he's not buying it, and he's getting a little, chest a little hotter and bigger and tougher. And I think Curtis just leaning into it and maybe getting more aggressive and pointing at him, saying, "Mr. Tanaka, I know where the mask is. You need me more than I need you. I have questions for you. You help me, and I will help you." Is that acceptable?
This would be a good roll to be successful. And what is your you have a 50-50? Your persuade is 50%
Yeah. And luck, I could spend luck on
after.
stuff right after, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I may have to spend all 50 points. Lord bear me strength. Let's do this. Yes.
Very nice.
Oh, fuck.
So when you start your little spiel, he seems unaffected. He's been unaffected by you this entire time, but in the face of obvious death threats, right? That he's giving you, he's more than just inferred that the trail of bodies may have been his trail, right? The fact that you are still bucking up and still pretending to be his equal makes him pause. And his body language changes a little bit. And maybe this is more disconcerting. I don't know. It's up to you, Curtis. He seems to relax. Fine. Tell me where we're going so I can tell the drivers. And then we can have a discussion on our way to the mask. So, where are we going?
First things first, Mr. Tanaka. Um, I'm gonna have a few questions for you, and then you're gonna let me out. I have no interest in this mask, but I have a few questions for you, and I'll hand it right over.
I understand your offer. And here's my counter offer that still gives you what you want. Tell me where the car should go. And if you want me to drop you off on the way, that's not going to happen. But once I see you the mask, I don't care where you and your friend go. But we can definitely have this discussion on the way to the mask. This is potentially a much better scenario than other conversations I've had today.
I'd like to say a landmark around the corner from where I'm actually going.
Okay.
Uh,
So let's talk about this. So there's the brownstone, right? Right. So there's the Brooklyn brownstone. You could tell them that. You could tell them it is just off of Broadway where Nancy Turner is having her auditions. We're about an hour from that happening. The Brooklyn Gazette has its office in Brooklyn. That's the only major Peter Reston's office is in Manhattan.
yeah.
That's near the Empire State Building, or
Uh,
near the financial district. I mean,
so I think the goal is get close to the audition location,
okay,
but not specifically telling them. So if there's a Broadway and 33rd or whatever, right?
so
A
like a
couple
block or
blocks
two
away.
off,
Yeah, something
but in
that
that
I could
neighborhood. Okay.
uh, uh, get where I need to go, have time to talk, and also not give them exactly where I'm going.
So you were in Midtown. It's not going to take long to get there. So if that's the address you give them, you maybe have got 2 or 3 minutes, depending on lights and traffic. So that's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you do that, and I don't think you really realized it because your back was to it, but the partition to the drivers was open, and he says a few things in Japanese to the gentleman in the front, and they roll the window up, and you see them trying to do a left and a left, right? So you know that
Mhm.
what you told them was south of here, and you know that you've been driving north. So they're gonna have to, you know,
Cut
turn
left.
around and head back south again.
Um,
So
Mr.
you have
Schmuck, I've
questions.
if someone was to put this mask on, how would one get this mask off?
Not really clear why you care. You're gonna take me to the mask. I'm gonna let you go.
It doesn't work that way. Answer my question, sir. How would one take off this mask?
Nobody takes off the mask. If someone is wearing the mask, they can choose to take it off. But nobody can take off the mask except the person wearing it. And I know you already saw what happens when someone tries to take off the mask. You end up in a basket without faces.
Look over at Lucas. Um,
He's got his head in his hand. He's like this.
um, is this mask dangerous to someone if they're wearing it?
I don't know if dangerous is the word I would use. The mask is very powerful. And in a fool's possession, dangerous. In the rightful person's possession, it's the key. I'm getting the feeling, based off your questions, that maybe Anna has the mask? You seem concerned. I can see immediately that neither you nor Lucas are wearing it. How do I know that? Well, visually I can tell. I also know that if either of you were wearing the mask, you would have left this car already. And I couldn't have stopped you. So maybe I've been asking the wrong question, Mr. Ellison. It sounds like the question I should be asking you is, where's that floozy friend of yours? Because now I think she has the mask. And there's a half-second beat, and the professor goes, God damn it, just tell him where the goddamn mask is.
I nudge Curtis, Lucas. Yeah. And kind of give him the international sign of buck up, buttercup, because shit's about to get real.
Okay.
And I'd like to pick a time when, I don't know, I don't even care how fast the damn car is driving. I'm
You
reaching for
probably
that.
should, so let's be specific about that.
I mean, it's New York, so you couldn't. If we're in
It's
the
stop
city,
and
it's
go.
not. Yeah, it's stop and go. If it's stop and go, I don't really care. I'll duck and roll. We're getting the fuck out of this car. I'm reaching for the latch and trying to shove Lucas out while I'm jumping out at the same time.
So luckily, and this was not on purpose, I just said it was this. You're sitting next to the professor, so you're in the middle seat, right? So you could reach across and you could get that door open because it's unlocked, and you could push him out and you could jump out as well. But I don't think we're going to be able to do that narratively. So let's look at the sheet, and things like you and I talked offline. One thing that's really nice about BRP, basic role playing, which is what Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu was first, then it turned into BRP, and then BRP is the basis of this and many other games. But when you pick an occupation in this system, you get check marks next to certain skills, which are free upgrades to those skills because of the occupation you chose. And it tends to be kind of a really nice roadmap onto what is Curtis good at because of what a Curtis is. So I would start there, see if there's any check marks that you think you could use to pull this off. And if not, is there any other place where you dumped some points and spent some points to boost it up that you think could make this happen? And I'm okay with you telling me your objective, which is to get the F out of this car, and then figuring out which skill makes the most sense that you can explain to me. This is how I did it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And really, what's making the most sense in my head with all of this is, I mean, these guys are sitting right across the thing from me.
So just to clarify, behind you, and there's a partition now closed, is the two big guys, right? And one's in the passenger side and one's in the driver's seat.
Okay.
And then you're in a separate cab, and there's if you're
+3.
you're sitting in the middle of the seat with your back to the driver, right? So you're driving
Mhm.
backwards as the car goes forward. You're in the reverse seat. To your right is the professor who's slowly losing his shit. To the left is Lucas, who is completely shut down. He might be crying. And then across from you, kind of between where you and the professor are,
Mhm.
is Tanaka, and his face is pretty obscured by the lighting the way it is, and it's obviously on purpose that he's doing this.
Yeah.
But another
I
person couldn't fit on these seats, so this is a 3-person seat. So you guys are kind of cozy. So
Right.
there's no difficulty for you to reach across and open up that door.
Yeah. The only thing I could think of, which it may not even work here, might have been stealth. There's not anything that's kind of
Well, so how would you
agility. What?
let's think about that, right? So with the purpose of stealth is to try to do something unseen or unnoticed, right?
Mhm.
So walk me through it narratively. We can make stealth work. Just give me an idea so I know what
Yeah.
you're trying to do.
I
So
gotcha.
how could you potentially do this, without being noticed? The last piece
Um,
is going to get noticed, right? But once the
right.
door's open and you've pushed Lucas out, then you know the rocket started to roll.
Uh, Almost some sort of a diversion of some kind, because I mean, Mr. Tanaka's looking straight at me. Um, uh, Actually, you know what? I'm gonna start yelling at Professor Niner and cause a distraction. And uh, uh, yeah, so I actually, you know what? My goal is going to be to start screaming at Niner and maybe get physical with him and throw him across the other side, uh, to cause that diversion while stealthily trying to open the door and get the hell out.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. So you're using an overt action, classic magician technique, right? You're using an overt action to hide a minor action, right? The overt action is you getting physical with this professor, shake him up a little bit, maybe push him across this little divide here to the other set of seats where Tanaka is. And that's what your right hand's doing, is shoving him across, while your left hand is reaching across to open up this door and push it.
Yep.
I'm good with that. Let's get a stealth roll.
Cut
But
that.
you're
Oh,
very nice. Very nice. So it's not an extreme, but it is a less than 50% success, right? So this is, forget what it is. It's extreme success, and then there's a second tier and then a third tier. And I can't remember what the second tier is, but this is a second tier success. And
regular, hard, extreme,
it's
crit.
a hard
Yeah.
success. Thank you. Yeah, it's a hard success. So very, very nice. And this is going to be an incredible moment that we're going to have to wait 10 minutes for. I'll see you on the other side of the break. So with a hard success, a 13, which is very nice, you grab the professor, and with your right hand, just and he's not fighting you. He's just a wet noodle at this point. You shove him into Tanaka, and your left hand goes to the door. It flies open. You push Lucas, who comes tumbling out of the moving car, and then I assume you launch right behind him.
Absolutely.
And with a hard success, I'm going to have nobody take any damage. Both of you, the car was going slow enough, and you tucked his head as you kind of pushed him. You knew to tuck your head. You now are rolling down 42nd Street as the car drives past.
Once I stop rolling, obviously, I grab Lucas and just say, "Run!" And
And you see there's blood coming off his forehead. It's just a just the pavement, his head hitting the pavement. It's nothing drastic. You go, uh, uh, and he's frozen. So you're gonna have to like physically like help him get up and
yep, get him up, get him start running in the opposite direction of traffic. Looking for some sort of alcove, alley, cutaway, especially once I get my bearings. I'm going to want to start going towards this audition.
All right. So with a hard success, I'm going to make all of this happen. You duck away. The car is gone for now. You've only told him an address that is close, but not there. And you cut through some alleyways, and we're going to have you maybe a block and a half from the audition hall. We're going to say it's like, then the audition starts like in 45 minutes.
All right.
Now, to give you some context, because Curtis knows this, it's an all-day thing, right? So it's just her slot is in 45 minutes. But it is safe to assume that auditions have been happening all day today.
Gotcha. Okay.
And this is an off-Broadway theater that the Nancy Turner Orchestra has booked for these auditions, looking for a new lead singer.
Lucas, we got to get going. We got to get to the auditions and
he killed them all, didn't he?
I think so.
Is he going to kill us? I need a phone. I got to call my dad.
Yes. Let's get far away from the street, and we'll find a phone. And we'll call your dad.
Okay. And as you kind of head down the alleyway to cross over to the other side of the block, he stops and throws up. And you grab him and continue, kind of pushing him forward. And he's, I'm sorry, Curtis. I'm sorry. I've never had anything like this happen. And where are we going?
I look up. Is there a hotel or something that might have a phone in visible line of sight right now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're let's duck into this market or this hotel. We got to use the phone to call your dad. I think we need to go see Anna immediately afterward, though.
Okay.
All right.
So you guys, and this is not the hotel where anywhere close as classy as a hotel is where the madame lives. So nobody stopped. There's no doorman. You come right into the hotel lobby, and it's not a rat gut hotel, but there's a front desk there. There's people in the lobby.
We head straight over to the front desk.
Well, there's a payphone.
Oh, there's a payphone right here.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's go use the payphone then.
Okay.
Check for nickels or whatever they are.
I'm gonna tell Dad to come pick us up. He needs to protect us. Like, we're in danger. I'm just gonna tell him to come get us. And he grabs the receptor. It's a 2-piece phone, and you see him reaching into his pocket for nickels.
I stop him for a second. Say, Lucas, it's not about us. You realize our friend has that mask on her face right now, and she's at a bigger danger than we are.
Tanaka's gonna kill us. And if we're dead, no one's gonna save Anna. My dad can get us, and I'll tell dad everything, and and uh, maybe he can hire somebody, or maybe he knows somebody who can go get Anna. I don't. I just
Lucas, do you not realize that your dad wanted you to wear this mask for some reason? Is there a chance he might be in on something that's going on here?
so he takes the receptor off of his the earpiece off of his ear, and he goes, "You think Dad want me to wear this?
I
Why
overheard
would Dad want
him
me to put
screaming
this
at you.
on?"
I have no idea. You tell me.
I don't even know what this mask does. I don't know what the hell is going on right now. My God, uh, I just wanted to be an artist. That's all I wanted to be, and and now people are trying to kill me. And you tell me that there's a mask that isn't a mask, and I just, oh my God! And he kind of just falls back into the booth.
I grabbed the telephone thing out of his hand, put it back on the payphone. I grab him, and I'm sure we're in the lobby of a place, right?
Yep.
Yeah, let's go sit down on a couch and sit him down for a second. And Lucas, you got to pull your shit together. This is not about us. We can worry about us later. Our friend's in danger more than we are right now, and we we need to act fast. We got to do something here.
How are you trying to get Lucas to get his shit together?
Um, Probably more comforting. Um,
Look at your sheet.
yeah, let's. It's probably going to be persuade because me trying to convince him to act differently against his natural reaction to this situation and think about others. It's
I'm good with a persuade, and I'm going to give you a bonus die because I think that he is looking for leadership right now. He's looking for direction. I don't know how much resistance he's offering right now. I mean, he's scared to death, and he's obviously deferred to you up to this point. So if you want to add a bonus die to that, I'm okay.
absolutely.
It's an
Ooh,
extreme success. You saved your rolls. I'll tell you. You
yeah,
have the
holy shit.
swingiest rolls. I mean, you failed, and then you went from a hard success to an extreme success. Um, I'm gonna do whatever you say. Okay, okay. We won't call Dad. Where are we going? I'm whatever you want. Whatever you want. I'm trusting you, Curtis.
All right. I get him up, I dust him off, I get his collar all nice and neat and wipe some tears off his face, whatever. I say, let's go scope out the audition location and figure out when Anna's supposed to be there. Maybe we'll run into Emily or kind of snoop around a little bit, see what's going on over there.
So let's cut to a little montage of you guys kind of working your way down the streets. I would imagine Curtis being who you are, that you're keeping your eyes open, obviously for the car, right? You get to this off Broadway theater. The front door is locked, but there's an obvious entrance to the left of it that's kind of like for for cast and stuff like that, and for people that work there. You go there, that door is open, so you're able to go through that door, and as you start walking down this hallway past dressing rooms that are empty right now, and you can hear somebody is singing up ahead, and you just follow that sound as you go, and you're kind of dragging Lucas with you, right? So Lucas is he's not real fast. He doesn't have a sense of urgency, but he's staying with you by your force of will, and you come to this huge theater. It's got a balcony, and you can see empty seats on the main floor. There's two spotlights on a woman singing, a woman you've never seen before. She's got a beautiful voice and she's singing. Behind her, there's a very small ensemble band, maybe like 6 or 7 people with a piano, a gentleman with a guitar and a very small horn section there. And they're playing and accompanying her. It's obviously not the full orchestra. The full orchestra would be in the pit, right? But this group is up on stage behind this woman. She is singing. You scan the seats. The seats are empty. So a reasonable assumption is that is whoever's whoever's being auditioned to is likely on the balcony. But from where you are coming in, you can't see. So imagine the stage is right directly to your left. You're coming in as if you had front row seats, right? So you're in that part of the theater. It leans up. The theater is dark. You can tell that it's a mid off Broadway theater. It's not a very fancy theater. This woman is up there playing this beautiful song. She is singing a beautiful tune into a large microphone. And there
Can I
could
see?
just be clear, there could be somebody on the same floor as you. It's dark.
It's dark. I think I'm going to make my way up the aisles of seats. I imagine there's got to be a door at the top of the seats somewhere as well to try to get up. And I'd like to head towards the balcony.
So you drag Lucas with you. You head up, and as you get further up towards the back of the theater, back of the first level of seating, you see like dots in the audience. It's always a woman. She's a woman who's dressed very modern in a flapper dress. A lot of them have short hair like Anna had. The way she'd gotten her hair cut maybe 6 or 8 months ago, very in style at this time, very cutting edge. And sometimes they're there with 2 or 3 people. Sometimes they're there by themselves, but there's maybe about 6 women, and they all have like sheet music in front of them. They're all, either looking at their sheet music or watching intently at whoever's auditioning right now. You get to the back of the theater.
Um, I'm not going to interrupt any singing or the situation in there. So I'm going to go out into the main floor or go through a set of doors that might be there at the top.
So at the very back, there's the main doors that let you into the main floor of the theater, and you open up those doors, and light floods into this theater, and people in the very back row. There's 3 sets of people that obviously are there to audition. They're not there together, right? They're dotted along the back row. Immediately, like, shut the door.
Oh, sorry. And I slip in as quickly as possible and shut that door.
So now you're in this main lobby, which is empty. There's a gentleman at the far end who is sweeping, and you see where they serve drinks. There's a bar. You can see like concession areas. There's nobody in those concession areas. So right now it's completely empty. There's vaulted staircases that lead up to a second floor where these balconies are. But the only thing you have is somebody, and he's dressed in a coverall, some sort of janitor.
Gotcha. I'm just going to head upstairs, up to the balcony.
And as you're going up the stairs, Lucas, like, he stops you physically. He goes, do you have a plan? Do you think Tanaka's going to be here?
I don't know, Lucas. I'm looking for Emily or someone to talk to. I'm looking to talk to somebody about this. I'm looking for Anna. Yeah, I really don't know.
So you get up to the top area, and you see a second set of doors that are almost identical to the ones that you came in through and got yelled at for opening, that obviously lead to the balcony.
I'd be that guy again. Fuck it. Yeah. I'm gonna jet through as quickly as possible, leaving as little light coming through as possible.
Are you taking Lucas with you?
Yeah.
So as soon as that door cracks, you immediately again flood the balcony now with light, right? Because you have to physically get through this, and it means you have to open the door at least a quarter of the way to do that. And it floods light, and you can see that they're at the very front row of this balcony. You can see a group of people, and it doesn't take much for you to figure out who's whom, because there's a statuesque, beautiful African-American woman that's in the center of all of this. And you know her because she's very famous, and she's Nancy Turner. This is the Nancy Turner Orchestra. It is one of the few African-American led orchestras in the country. She plays everywhere. Her records sell like crazy, and many of the top singers try to guest appear on her shows as they dot the country. She always has a standard lead singer, and what happens is they rotate like almost year by year, because if you sing for the Nancy Turner Orchestra and go on tour with her, then you leave because you have a career, right? But even people that have left her and to become more famous than she is come back, because again, being part of this orchestra is a big deal. And you can see hands, assistants, and things. There's maybe about 8 or 9 people that surround her, and when that door opens and that light floods through, she doesn't turn her head. You can see her almost in a silhouette, but someone immediately with a clipboard starts racing towards you as you start to close the door back up again. And go, sir, and it's a guy dressed casually, handsome man, maybe in his early 20s. He's got a clipboard on him. He goes, auditions are downstairs. You're not supposed to be up here.
Yeah, I'm looking for
Shh, 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 shh.
oh, sorry. Emily, our agent.
Emily. She's auditioning today?
No, she represents one of the singers. I'd imagine she'd be up here with Miss Nancy.
And what's her last name? And you say Webster. Emily Webster, and who's auditioning? Why are you? Wait a minute. Everybody who's auditioning has to be downstairs. Just go find a spot downstairs. And yes, I see her here. She's after her. She hasn't checked in yet. But yeah, go. Like, you're not supposed to be up here.
Yeah, not a problem. I'll head down. Is there a different route to not let all this light come through again, to interrupt?
Jeez, just here. And he kind of pushes you physically as much as he can, like towards this back door, and he kind of pushes it open. It's just like, go, get.
Yeah, I follow. I get out.
All right.
Lucas, we need to find Anna. She's up next. I don't know where she's at. Let's head downstairs, talk to the janitor, and see if we can't find a backstage area. Wait, no, you said there was a bunch of people in the main auditorium on the ground.
Correct. Like dotted through the main auditorium, which are people obviously, either have auditioned or are waiting to audition.
Yeah. And that first door I came in, that did not let a lot of light in, right?
So yeah, but that's when you came from the street, right? So you went into kind of like the back, right?
The back way. Okay.
But to give you an idea, if you were to go back down these stairs, there's the main door that you came out of, and then then there's 2 other doors to the left or the right. If you open them up, it's going to flood light. You'd have to get kind of backstage again if you're trying to be, not obnoxious.
Yeah. Let's head downstairs. Lucas, follow me. Let's go talk to that janitor real quick.
And you get down to the top steps, and he finally, he seems to have his wits about him a little bit. He's like, we're just running around. I need to know what the plan is, Curtis.
Lucas,
I don't want to die.
We need to find Anna before Mr. Tanaka does. It's that simple.
So what are we doing? What do we do when we find Anna? What's your plan, Curtis?
we got to talk some sense into her. She's got to take that mask off. And Mr. Tanaka clearly stated that the only way that mask is coming off is with her own free will. We've got to convince her to take that mask off.
We got to find her in like 5 minutes, or I'm out of here. I love you both, but I don't want to die.
I just kind of shake my head and says, "Follow me, follow me. Let's figure out how to get backstage."
All right. So you're gonna go up to the janitor.
Yeah, go up to the janitor.
He's older man, white guy sweeping the floors, and really not paying attention. He comes up and he goes, "Can I help you?"
Yes, sir.
Auditions are this way.
Yeah, there's got to be a different door. I got yelled at for coming back
Yeah,
out.
that door right there. Don't go through these doors. The people are auditioning right now. Go through that door, go down the hallway past the dressing rooms, and then take a left. There's going to be the lady with the clipboard. Tell her that that you're here to audition. And like, I wish they would put somebody up front that would give you people these directions. I've got a job to do. I'm trying to do this job, and like, you guys keep interrupting me. Just go, like, open up that door there. Just go all the way down to the end.
I appreciate it. I'm beeline straight for that.
Hey, are you one of the last auditions? And I thought they were looking for a woman. Is he? What is a freak boy there with the long hair? Is he auditioning? That's not a woman, is it?
Keep on mopping, sir. No,
Okay.
we're good. Yeah, so we head down the hallway.
All right, so you go to the side door, you push it open, you open it up, and it's all down there. At the very end, just as this guy told you, there's a woman. She's got a clipboard.
Yeah.
She goes, are you here for the audition?
Yeah, actually, I was supposed to meet one of the ladies.
Because we're only auditioning women.
Right. You should have Anna on the list.
Anna Conrad.
Yeah, Conrad. Thank you.
Yeah, she's here already. She's already has her agent with her. I don't understand. Who are you?
We're the support team. We're here to support her and make sure she got here on time.
Fine, whatever. Yeah, she's already here. Fourth row, row G. I think they went on row G, and she kind of pushes the door open, which opens up into a backstage area, but you can see kind of an alcove that leads into the main theater. So you come into the main theater,
Going to the main theater,
and you see row G. And as you get closer and your eyes adjust because of the glaring spotlight, this woman is just now finishing. You see Anna and Emily stand up, and they're about 5 seats in on row G. And they start to work their way to the aisle where you're headed up. They haven't seen you yet.
Do I let her sing?
What would Curtis do? Getting Curtis's skin. What does he care about right now?
Cares about her safety at all cost.
Correct.
He's gonna bum rush out into this main floor and grab her and say, grab her, just try to get her out of that theater.
So I'm going to have you run up, and it's just as they're kind of working their way down the aisle because you guys are in the far left aisle. So if I'm standing on the stage, you guys are far to my left, right? So you're working that aisle far to the left with all the theater seats, and you're rushing up there, kind of leaving Lucas behind. Emily and Anna are working their way to that same aisle, kind of walking sideways, right? Because it's theater seating, right? Mm-hmm. And Emily notices you first, and she goes, "Whoa! We're about to go on."
And you're in danger. We've got to get you out of this theater now.
And Emily kind of puts her hand on you to physically stop you, and Anna goes, "Curtis, We'll talk after my audition. Are you okay?
N- no, no, you are in grave danger, Anna. I need to talk to you.
I need a pow roll. I need a power roll from you. Damn, son, you've been saving up.
Yeah, holy crap.
Another
So many
hard
90s.
success. So you say that to her, and she looks to you in the eye, Curtis, and she goes, Curtis, I want to go on stage and audition. And here's what happens to you, Curtis. You get flooded. And suddenly, what she wants is what you want. So you have this feeling of like, yes, this is important. Like this is everything has been building up to this. Like it all makes sense in your head, right? You're like,
Mhm.
yeah, this is her big day. This needs to audition. And then somehow another part of your brain breaks through that feeling. And you know that feeling is outside of you somehow. You don't know why, you don't know how. As natural as it felt to feel that, suddenly something else breaks through and says, no, she can't go up there. Curtis, I'll talk to you after the audition. I'm going up there. I want this. And you can break through that.
Is she still coming out the aisle to where, or am I
Emily
able
still
to?
has her hand on you, physically stopping you, and she's right at the aisle. She's within arm's reach of you. And she's
I'm
beautiful, Curtis. Just gorgeous. In a dress you've never seen before. Maybe her and Emily bought it, during this time here. You have a sense of how much Anna makes. There's no way Anna could have afforded this, and maybe Emily could have, but wow, she looks stunning. And like I said, you had this almost overwhelming feeling that this hard success stopped you from succumbing to. But
Yeah,
there was a part of you that you had to break through to not completely succumb to her, you wanting exactly what she wanted.
yeah. Um, yeah. I think Curtis would just grab her hand and try to forcefully pull her and try to take her out of this right at the stairwell.
And she can't resist you. I mean, physically, you are a much stronger person. And where are you taking her?
Up to the top of the theater,
So
back out to the main
you
area.
drag her up the aisle. You kind of leave. Emily kind of is knocked back a little bit by you physically doing this. So she's kind of knocked back. You're dragging her, and her arms outstretched as you are literally dragging her. So like her feet, she's still on her feet, but she just doesn't have the physical power to stop you. And Curtis, and you drag her to the top of the theater. And you're making a little bit of a scene. She hasn't raised her voice that much, but people are like, what the hell?
Yeah. Um,
The
uh,
other woman has gone off stage.
okay. I want to take her outside of these doors and the main concession floor area.
Okay, you push it open, you floodlight again, you drag her out into the concession. You see your friend there mopping by the door where you entered in before. Curtis, what the hell? I'm about to go on. They're about to call my name.
Anna, there's so much to catch you up on, but um, the madam's dead. The guy that was at the party last night is dead. Um, there's a little boy that delivered something to our apartment this morning. He's dead. Lucas and I just got threatened over something you have, Anna, and he knows that you're in possession of something, and your life is in danger.
Curtis, you're not making any sense. Look, can we talk about this afterwards? I've been working. If I get this, if I if I if I get this, and I know I can. I've listened to all these other women that have been up there singing, and I'm 10 times better than they are. Can it wait 5 minutes? My song is 4 minutes long, Curtis.
you could do this without the help of what you're wearing right now, Anna. I need you to do something for me before you go on that
Curtis, I
stage.
just
Then
bought this. And she's touching her dress. I'm not changing my dress.
I don't think she knows that she's wearing this, does she?
Curtis, I'm going to go audition. You and I will talk about this afterwards. I love you. Need another power roll.
Womp womp. I just Pepe Le Pew watching her.
That's
Go
up to
back
you.
the other
You've got,
way.
I mean, you've got luck, you've got push. But again, you know, I've already told you the ramifications of push. And when you
Yeah.
luck, you literally lower your luck score. So if you have another luck roll that you need to get right, you know, you don't have that as a resource, nor if I ask you to roll against luck. I mean, so do you, because here's what's going to happen as you're making this decision mechanically. If you fail this power roll, everything she says makes sense. And you're going to let her go. And if you fail this power roll, Nick knows what's happening, but Curtis doesn't. To Curtis, this makes total sense. And you want nothing more than for her to get up on stage and audition right now.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to push this. And the reason why is it's not Tanaka holding me in a car with one door open or two doors and life being threatened. I think there's some buffer here for maybe some time. I think I think we'll let it happen.
I think that's a good call. Just meta talking right now, Nick. I think that's the right call to make. Losing Anna right now, which is what could happen if you failed another role, right? I completely back that. So she says that to you, Nick, and Curtis. You know how important this is to her. You know how hard she's worked for this and the level of confidence she has right now. And when she says, I'm better than all of these girls, as good as that woman sounded that was on stage when you came in, suddenly she's garbage. Anna can sing circles around this woman. What do you say to Anna?
You do you. You're gonna kill it up there. I'll be here waiting for you when you get done.
I love you.
I can't say that back to you, Craig. I'm looking right at you. He replies, yes, I do too.
So now I need a sand roll.
All right.
Okay. Drop one sand, please.
Okay.
Where does that put you?
45, 5 daily.
You've lost 5 today?
Yeah.
Okay. So she floats away back through the door. She leaves you in the lobby by yourself.
Lucas.
Lucas is still in the theater. He didn't come out with you guys.
Oh no shit. I'm actually going to follow her in because I'm going to try to protect her at all cost. Just kind of hovering at the top of during her performance at the back of the theater.
And to give you a sense here, I'm not saying you wouldn't protect her, right? But for Curtis, what matters now is her auditioning. What matters now is that she gets on stage. So the only thing you'd be protecting her from at your gut level right now is anything that would prevent her from getting on stage, right? So suddenly, like, there's a fog about Tanaka and a fog about the danger, right?
Gotcha.
It's almost like the only thing you
that
care
happened.
about, right? The only thing you care about right now is that she gets on stage and nails this.
Yep.
So you walk into the theater with her, and Emily's right there as you guys come in, and she goes, "What the fuck?" she says to you, and Anna just walks past her.
I'm
Do you
not
not
even
want her to get this?
She's She's gonna get it. Just listen. Yeah, it'll be perfect. It'll be perfect.
Okay. I've never seen her like this. She's going to nail this. So she escorts you back to where her and Anna were before. And you're going to need to look for Lucas. So I want to know if you are going to look for him.
I'm almost thinking with the failed POW roll, like, is Lucas even
Lucas
a thought
who?
right now? Right? Yeah. So probably not.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's good role playing, Nick.
Yeah.
So you go right with Emily, you get the seat, and the woman that had the clipboard that met you at the door comes up and she's like, taps on the mic. She goes, Miss Turner, this is our second to last audition. And it's kind of that echoing, in the theater. This is and she looks at her board. She goes, this is an Anna Conrad. And she's singing one of the most recent Ellington. And before she finishes, Anna just comes up on stage and she starts handing sheet music to the musicians. She owns the stage. And she almost physically pushes this woman with a clipboard to the side. She goes, Miss Turner, are you ready? And the woman with the clipboard is just like, what are you doing? And she turns, she goes, you can go sit down now. And you see this woman just go, I'm going to go sit down now. And she just fades away outside of the spotlight. And there's a half second of silence. You hear some ruffling of the sheets as the sheet music gets distributed among the musicians. And there's a little bit of toot, 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 as they're kind of like getting tuned up. And then the music starts. And this is a song that's been played on the radio a lot. And it's actually a Turner song. That's something that the Nancy Turner Orchestra plays. And yeah, the song's fine. You're not a big music guy, but boy, this Turner Orchestra is pretty good. Like, that sounds good. And then Anna starts singing. And there was silence when the other woman was singing, except for the obnoxious noise you were making. But there's almost a quieter silence once Anna starts singing. And you can't help but look and see that before, when the other woman was singing, you had people there that were looking at notes and having conversations quietly. Everybody is 100% focused on Anna as she sings. And as many times as you've heard her practice, as many times as you've been there for her auditions, holy shit, she's killing it. Hitting every note. Every variation she makes from the standard song you hear on the radio is an improvement. When the singer on the radio sings this song and goes, goes an octave higher for a note, she only goes half octave higher and it works. And everything just sounds perfect. Your body relaxes. You look over at Emily and you can see a tear coming down Emily's eye. And 3.5 minutes song goes like that. And the only thing you want as she finishes the song is to hear another one. And there's a good 3 seconds of silence as she finishes. And then from the balcony, you hear clapping. And it spreads to the other few auditioners that are in the audience still. And that only one of them is still up after Anna was second to last. So obviously people stuck around to watch the competition. Everybody's standing. Emily stands. And the clapping spreads to the first floor. What do you do?
I stand and
He
clap as
nailed it.
well.
She nailed it. And the look on her face, the joy in her face, she knows she nailed it. She knows she killed it. And the look on her face is just priceless. And as much as every eye is focused on the center stage, as much as you love her right now, Nick, and you're so happy for her right now, and you know she's got this. It doesn't stop you from noticing two very large men that you've seen before coming through the side door that you and Lucas came through. Off to your right. In their pinstripe suits, identical ties. We're going to cut to credits. We'll be on the other side. This felt intense. Did it feel intense for you?
Big time. Holy shit. Like for real. Intense. Yeah.
Yeah. Like and I think it's the chemistry that you and I have built up, Nick, and not only just in playing one-on-one, but you know, just playing as much as we have played together. And I'm sorry if my I love you made you uncomfortable, but
No, it was
made
like,
sense
oh,
to me.
I love you too, but I'm sitting there staring at your picture going,
I'm a handsome son of a bitch, just so you know.
oh, look, it's in the public eye.
Your wife doesn't watch this.
I love you too, Craig.
So
Did it.
before we jump into this, something that I should have done at the end of the last episode that I didn't. And I need to give at least half the credit for what we're doing to Anthony. So my good friend Anthony Boyd, some people know him better as Rune Slinger. He's actually going to be on the stream this coming Thursday with Seth Skorkowski. I reached out to Anthony after our first session because I was, and you and I have talked about this off camera, but I was struggling, Nick, after our first session. I thought it was good. But I knew that I was not in the groove. I knew I wasn't happy with what we were, where we were headed. I didn't have a clear sense of anything. And Anthony, in his infinite kindness, said, you know, hey, let's talk about it. And I said, even better, let's record it, right? Because something that you just don't, something that doesn't happen very often is when a GM runs a game, another GM who's not playing gets to watch the game, and then you get to talk between sessions. And Anthony and I did that between session 1 and session 2, and it changed everything. And it's because not only is Anthony a good friend, but he's somebody who I trust. So when Anthony tells me something, even if my initial gut reaction is to disagree with him, I know he understands this hobby better than I do. And he very quickly made me understand the essence of this scenario because I started off kind of criticizing the scenario. I was very critical of this scenario at the beginning when he and I discussed with him, and Anthony did an amazing job of really seeing what Lynn and the two other women that created the scenario were really doing, and I missed it. And when he recentered me, and that led to what I think was an amazing episode 2 that you and I had. And I asked him, like, can we do this again? And between that session and this session, he and I talked again. And it was a little bit less of Craig, get your head out of your ass, which was kind of what the first conversation was. And this time it was him and I tossing around ideas. And he is, like I said, at least half, if not more, responsible for what happened in this session too, because a lot of these were some of his things. He's like, Craig, what if this was, what if this, what if this, right? So the reason I'm bringing this all up is not only to praise Anthony for being a good friend and an amazing GM coach, but he's, when we finally finish this, Nick, he's going to release these videos. And I want everybody who's watching now to make sure you watch these videos when they come out on Anthony's channel, and I'll promote the shit out of them on Twitter and stuff like that. So you don't follow us on Twitter, do it. I think Anthony and I discovered something that isn't happening right now, which is a GM watching another GM and then coaching and brainstorming between sessions. And it was powerful. So that's that plug. That's enough about Anthony. And Anthony, I know you're going to watch this, so thank you. So back to how intense this was. So you agree that it was intense. What made it intense for you, Nick?
There was a lot of decision points that just trying to navigate all of the evidence that Curtis has seen, and then the what would Curtis do in that situation, and what he would do with that evidence, and what's most important to him at the time. And it was like, wow. And what I loved about it is there was no, sometimes you can kind of throw out a like, oh, I want to ask about this, and a fork in the road opens up. There was none of that this session. It was like, oh shit, nope, I'm stuck in this car with this fucking asshole. Pardon my language, guys, but what do I do? What do I do? GTFO, gotta go.
Yeah, I love that decision. I loved that decision. I did not see that, and I loved when you took it because it made sense to me.
Yeah, and I didn't know what the right or wrong answer was, and this goes back to me metagaming and being a board gamer and a war gamer, but
well, and just real pause, because you and I have talked about this offline. I think it's an important
mm-hmm.
conversation to have here, because I have other people that I role play with that struggle with this too. Like you and I know each other originally from wargaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I introduced you to role playing, and you're a fan, right?
Yep.
And role playing is different because as war gamers, we're programmed to find the optimal choice. What is the best choice? And it's hardwired in our brains as war gamers. And what's really fun and liberating about role playing is you don't do that. You become the director, the writer, and the actor all at once. Yeah. And there is an immense amount of satisfaction that can be found freeing yourself of what is the best choice. And instead going, what would Curtis do? And I think that as somebody who's watched you from I've never role played before to today in the last 2 years, you're making the hero's journey on this one, Nick, and you're getting closer and closer to it every time. And I think that this one-on-one session we're having has leveled you up a little bit. I think you're starting to see a different level of role playing, if that makes any sense.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yep. And it's bleeding into the other games we have going on with Blades.
How so?
And well, just even with our last episode of Blades, the season kickoff, realizing that when we first did Blades, we started it, I think it was right at the first Star Wars you and I played, one of the first sessions that we had, and I was still trying to figure out how to role play and build my character and figure out what that character would do. I was just kind of playing myself in that world. And now that I am where I am, diving back into my character Elias on Blades in the Dark, made me realize like I haven't fully fleshed this character out. What's his motivation? Why is he doing this? What's he doing? And I think we started that with adding a few little story arcs from the time when we ended last and got here. But I have a lot more work to do with them, and I'm excited to dive into Elias and Elias's head and notate some of these things that he's done or involved with in this world with his history to add for better role playing.
So I'm going to say something, Nick, and you may or may not just agree with this, but what I love about wargaming is it tickles a part of my brain that my work and my role as a father and a husband doesn't tickle, right? Wargaming makes me think about things differently. It makes me problem solve differently, even though I'm a professional problem solver. Companies pay me a lot of money to solve their problems, right? And that's what I love about wargaming. But role playing does all of that, but completely differently. And it's its own challenge. When I get to run a game, like the time between sessions, I spend so much time figuring out what makes sense. Right. So what are the and one of the things that you'll hear Anthony and I talk about on our videos in between sessions is and this is me pulling back the curtain a little bit. So like between sessions, I say, okay, what's true? And it sounds silly to say that, but like the only thing that's true is what has happened and what has been said. Because even though I might know the whole story, right? I might know the whole, and story is not the right word, the whole situation, right? I knew who
Mhm.
Tanaka was, right? I knew who the professor was. I knew who Dita Son was. I knew what the mask was. But until it happens, it's not true.
Right. Yeah.
But you have to be careful because if you make everything else as anything can effing happen, then you
Hmm.
could create a very inconsistent experience, right? If the variables keep changing, suddenly something that was true and then something else is true and those don't line up anymore, can take us out of the game. But
Yeah.
but still following you makes for a better experience. And this is what this has done for me is it's helped me as a GM let go a little bit because the style of GMing of the 80s and 90s when I GM'd, and yes, I'm that old, was very much this is the story we're going to tell, and you're going to sit and hear this story. And oh, by the way, I might give you some character sheets too, right? But like, this is the Craig show. And what I'm discovering now is a whole new way to play role playing games, which is set the stage, put the plates out, put the forks out, put the glasses out, but let them pick the wine. Let them choose chicken or fish. And, you know, find out where it's going. And I haven't played this game yet, but Brinkwood Bay by that's about to go on Kickstarter next week, which I'm going to kickstart the shit out of. And next week I'll release my interview with him. Brinkwood Bay has a very interesting thing to do. It's a murder mystery game, and you don't know who how the mystery is solved. You don't know who the killer is, even as the GM, and the table figures it out together. And I'm not quite there yet, right? But it's also very interesting to let it unfold live real time. Um, and it's been neat. As much as I've seen you, I guess when I'm super long winded here, I apologize. As much as I've seen you develop as a player just in 3 episodes of this, like I am leveling up as a GM, and like this is not the last time I do a one-on-one session. This has been transformative. So McBluff says it makes sense too. When it's one-on-one, you really have to stay in the moment, see all the moving parts and how you fit into the scenario, almost like you can fall into the character more when your character is the only one moving. and some independence from the storytelling intent. Very well said, McBluff. Very, very
Absolutely.
well said. Yeah. That is a much more succinct way of my 3-minute diatribe there. So I gotta ask, Nick, obviously you have fallen to the mask for now, right?
Mhm.
And but you also now have the fuse has been lit, right? So now we see Tanaka's men have found out where you are. They're coming in. Taking a step back from a meta standpoint, Nick, like what's next?
God, I don't know. My guy's not a good fighter, so I don't know what the hell I'm going to do other than run, dodge, duck, dive, dodge, and duck. But uh, yeah, I almost think that um, this might have to play out a little bit with Tanaka, which scares me uh, for Curtis and what might happen to Anna. But who knows? Like I'm going to try my best, but you saw him either rolling 90s or in the teens. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, there was no warm water. It was all hot and cold water.
Yeah, it was rough. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I'm going to think about that a little bit more about what would Curtis do in that situation because at the end of the day, at the end of that session, he was enchanted of some kind over this mask or with this mask on him. Does he fully snap out of it? I don't know.
I think it's reasonable, even though he failed the power roll, Nick, that at some level Curtis has to have an idea, right? I think there's been enough clues dropped for Curtis, not for Nick, for
Hmm.
Curtis to know, and it's not even know, it's he believe that there's something bigger and unnatural happening here. And um, even when he fails the power rolls, I think even when he succumbs to the mask's power of desiring what the mask wearer wants, I think he even at some point understands that. And that dissonance is why I made you make a sand roll. Because I think at some level, Curtis, understands this. But here's what I think is interesting, and I've got a lot of time to think about it before we play again. But so I'm going to ask you. First of all, is all of the dead bodies a result of Tanaka?
I'm
There's three
leading
dead
to
bodies.
believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, we know that Tanaka thinks Anna has the mask, so that's in play, right? Um, you said while we were playing, "Oh my god, I don't think Anna knows she's wearing the mask." Do you think that that's the case?
I'm starting to believe so. I looking back at the conversations, I've been tiptoeing around it with her because I ultimately want to protect her and not stress her out and worry her. Um, I, it's not been brought up that she's. Do you know what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm leading to believe no right now. I don't think she knows that she's wearing something.
It makes the
Um,
hill a lot steeper, doesn't it?
it really does. It really does. Yeah. And something you also said, or Tanaka said in the car, was with the right person wearing it's also a key. So the Eldritch horror gameplay that I
We're playing Call of
do,
Cthulhu, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, oh shit, there's what else is happening? There's a lot bigger thing that I want to explore. Uh, but is that a red flag to Curtis? I don't know if he knows that that's a red flag. I know it's a red flag.
Yeah, I mean it was here's a good question to finish off on. Tanaka being who he was, did it surprise you he was in the car? Seeing that character pop back in, did that shock you or you're like, "Oh, of course." Like what as it was when Nick realized who was in the car, did either of them surprise you, either the professor or him?
It didn't surprise me, but that wasn't my first thought. Like I was very open ended of what was happening. I almost thought it was Peter,
Yeah.
the dad, because he's the one of that kind of wealth that I knew about.
Right.
I really didn't know Tanaka had that kind of money. Obviously, a professor wouldn't have that kind of money unless something else is going on. But yeah, that was kind of where my train of thought went. So yeah.
All right. I appreciate everybody watching. Nick, I'm having a fucking blast.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, I'm having a blast. And I bought the Night's Black Agent solo adventures. And it's going to happen. I've got a friend. I want to, it is meant to be, thank you, McBluff, for watching. It's meant to be, it's a woman character. That's the main character of these adventures. And I think I want to do this with a woman, and I can't wait to figure it out. But like, subscribe, the whole thing. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure you hit the heart button and follow us. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. That would be great. Subscribe, it's free. If you want to support us, subscribe on Twitch. We have a Patreon. That'd be great for $1 a month. That helps support us as well. Tabletop Talk, the podcast. Make sure you check it out. This coming Tuesday is a big deal. So Jason Morningstar, a giant in creator within the role-playing world. He has a brand new game he starts kickstarting next week. We are premiering that game on this channel because Jason's a freaking rock star. And I've got Navi and Sean Drake and Shadika and myself playing Dead House. And it's a storytelling game, much like For the Queen, which you've seen on this channel, much like The Zone, which you've seen on this channel. But it's Jason Morningstar, which means it's not what you think. And I have no idea what's going to happen. I can't freaking wait for Tuesday. So we do that on Tuesday. And speaking of Anthony, he is a guest on the next roundtable. That's this coming Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And so it's early for some of you on the other side of the ocean from us. And as big deal as it is to have Anthony on this channel, I've also got Seth Skorkowski of that Seth Skorkowski. If you're a Call of Cthulhu fan, you know who Seth is. He's the other guest, and we're going to ask each other questions. I appreciate it, Nick. As soon as this cuts away, we're going to look at the calendar and figure out when episode 4 is.
I'm excited.
I'm going to say it to you one more time. Are you ready? I love you. Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.